myself. Sometimes I fall myself. I might even find myself.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Danny here with another stack of vinyl finds, as usual. That's the Black Crowes. If you're not familiar with them, you should be. That's one of my favorite songs, Cursed Diamond. That's off their third album. Can't remember the goddamn name to it, but doesn't matter. Came across this at Record City. It's a box set. Live recording in New York. I believe this is Wiser for the Time. I don't know, 2010, that's what it says, if you can make that out. This came out in 2013, I believe, and, you know, I'm in my shop at the right time. He just got a stack of stuff in and asked me if I was interested in it, and I love the Black Crowes. So I said, yeah, for sure. And it's really cool. They're surprisingly, box set, there's no like paperwork or anything in it. It's just the vinyl. Kind of bummed about that, but the vinyl is really, really cool looking. Make that out. They're all basically kind of like different variations of this coloring scheme. I've listened to it a couple times. It's kind of half and half, acoustic and electric, if I remember correctly. Really cool, not a cheap one. I got a good deal on it, but it's not an easy one to find. I mean, you could find it like anything else. It's just gonna cost you. Did pretty good on it, so I was happy to have it. It's not one you see every day. And he had this one as well. This is a single for Remedy. Came in this tin. At first, I'm like, another one he threw at me, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm interested in that. He gave me a super smoking deal on it. And after the fact, it's like, where do you store shit like this? This is kind of a pain in the ass. It's cool, but so Remedy is the single, and I guess the B-side is Darling of the Underground Press and Time Will Tell. So, and I believe this is off of Southern Harmony Companion fucking something, I don't know. It was their second album. Was that Deaf American label? Fuck, I don't know. Yeah, Deaf American. So pretty cool. It's on 45, which is a bitch to play on my new turntable because I literally have to take the platter off and move the belt. So gonna have to get one of those auto changers or whatever the hell they are. Still learning the ropes on that turntable, but I love it. So, and that, I think that single came out in '92, I believe, if you care to know. So another one I came across, my wife really likes Soundgarden, and I don't have anything from Soundgarden, but I do now. And this is Super Unknown, I believe. Yeah, Super Unknown. This is a repress, probably about 180 gram at least. There's the labels, nothing really spectacular to show you. A lot of good songs on here. I'm not like a huge fan of them. I do like a lot of songs on here. Black Hole Sun is probably the biggest, probably one of their biggest songs, and it's on here. And I don't know, like Suicide, Half, 4th of July, Kickstand, The Day I Tried to Live, Spoon Man was another big one. I mean, I don't know what's good and bad. It's all pretty good. Gatefold. And this is, I think this, if I'm not mistaken, when I did the research on this is from 2014. The original one came out in '94. You know, you're not gonna find an OG one for what I paid for that. But it's good, clean copy. She liked it. So it's a win-win. The next thing I came across was Bad Brains Live. And this is a first press on SST. And I at the Movies, The Regulator, Right Brigade, I Against I and I Survive, House of Suffering, Reignition, Sacred Love, She's Calling You, Coptic Times, FVK, Secret 77. So it's got a good track listing on it. Fairly good recording. Not one you see every day, let alone being a first pressing. I'm sure they've probably repressed the shit out of this by now. They seem to be repressing a lot of their stuff, which is good. Yeah, good find, really good condition. Just happy to add that to the collection. And so like I said, I got in there at the right time. Some guy had just sold a bunch of his shit off, and this caught my eye. I remember seeing this back in the day at Walmart, and I passed on it. And you know, this goes from my childhood. I never had this one on vinyl. I think this is like the one I did not have on vinyl as a kid, but yeah, it was my favorite cover. Now this is not the original cover. Actually, I take that back. This was intended to be the original cover, and somehow they said that it looked too violent, I guess, or something like that from what I read on it. And it was about the time they changed their costumes to what would be my favorite costumes. And they changed the coloring. It's like purple, so I don't know, maybe it's more subdued. I don't know how. It's the same, looks the exact same, just different costumes. But yeah, this is a Walmart edition, orange on Casablanca. And if even Casablanca even still exists, which I don't believe it does, but pretty cool. Just happy to find that. I think I'm done at this point unless I find a Japanese pressing. That's what I'm looking for in that, because it's a gatefold and I love that cover. And then next thing he showed me was Union. And basically, you know, hey, do you know who this is? And I didn't recognize it. It was autographed. And then I looked at the back of it, and it's John Corabi, who was originally in the band called The Scream, and then he joined Motley Crue, replacing Vince Neil. And I've growing up, you know, in the 80s, I was a huge Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue fan, and you know, I think of Motley Crue, I think of Vince Neil. And I just wouldn't give this guy the time of day. And, you know, that album was pretty much a huge flop. Not to mention when it came out, it just couldn't compete with the grunge scene. But, you know, I told him, I said, you know what? I've actually listened to that album and I thought he had a really good voice. And I'd be interested in this, you know, and I asked him what he'd have to have for it. And we came up with a price that fit us both, and I took this home and I was pretty happy with it. John Corabi really has a good voice. This is a pretty good album. I enjoyed it, and for what I paid for it, I didn't know what it was worth until I looked it up. This goes for a shit ton of money, let alone autographed. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. And it is a first pressing. I think they may have repressed it once, so there's a different pressing of it, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Check him out. I mean, just because he was in Motley Crue for 5 minutes doesn't make him a bad guy. Really good voice. And you listen to his interviews too. He's pretty, speaks his mind. I like him. So, and I believe that came out in '98, if you're interested. So, next thing I saw with their new arrivals that they purchased, you know, the new stuff coming in, I saw them flicking through and I saw this and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta have that. So this is Fastway's Trick or Treat soundtrack. So this was an 80s movie, and of course I was in the metal scene back then and loved the movie. You know, I can't imagine what it is like now. It's probably garbage, but it was cool back in the day. And this is actually a really good album. I don't know if I'd classify it as heavy metal, but rock with a heavy side to it, but I wouldn't call it metal. But yeah, really, really cool. Limited to 2000 Hellfire vinyl edition. I already have the original one. I know I showed this in the past. It's a hard one to find. Give them a listen. You might like them. And if you can find it, I would pick this up. And then another one that it came in a couple weeks later. Actually, I told him about this, and I said to make sure that he gets a copy for me. This is Missing Persons 40th Anniversary Limited Edition of 500 on purple and red vinyl. And this is Spring Sessions. So if you're in the 80s, you have to know who the Missing Persons are. I think their biggest song on here was Destination Unknown and Walking in LA. Those were huge hits and kind of timeless. I don't know, I dug it. And at the time, I mean, Jesus Christ, I thought she was so hot. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. I don't know about the rest of the album, but I have a copy of it. I haven't opened it. I haven't decided whether I wanted to, but I wanted to have this copy. I thought it was cool. So a lot of new items to share. So another one that came in that I had ordered was Megadeth's The Sick, the Dying, and the Undead. This is the special edition, I guess. It's got the lenticular cover. I don't know if you can see that. And really cool artwork. And this also came with a 45 single in it. And it's also numbered 2,248 of 13,000. And literally just before I bought this, I stopped in at Walmart just to see what they had there, because this is black vinyl and I wanted the color one because I love the color. And they had one and I nabbed that. So now I have two of them. And there are two different colors on the vinyl. I'll just show you one of them if I can get it out of here. I think that one is green and this one's blue. Here's what the label looks like. And pretty good album, although I will say this particular one that I picked up at Walmart is slightly warped, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But it played through. It wasn't warped to the point that it wouldn't play, but yeah, typical Megadeth. I like Megadeth, really good. I would recommend it. And let's see. So that was all from most of it was from Record City. The next thing I found was at Standard Records in Vista, and that is Motorhead's debut album, Motorhead. I only have a couple things from Motorhead, so I had to have this. This is obviously a reissue. Pretty cool because it's on white vinyl and it's on Cheswick. You know, I wouldn't say it's their best album. It's cool though, I like it. You know, title track Motorhead. Vibrator, Lost Johnny, Iron Horse, White Line Fever, Keep Us on the Road, The Watcher, Train Kept a Rolling. Yeah, it's pretty decent, you know. I think it's acquired taste of Lemmy's voice, but I mean, come on, man, Lemmy, shit, still cool shit. You know, the next thing I found there, and this is what I went there for. They posted this on Instagram, and I don't know what it is about this cover. I have this album, but I really wanted this specific issue, and this is Jimi Hendrix Band of Gypsies. Now this is a Japanese pressing, and I'm not gonna bother taking it out because it's a pain in the ass, but you know, I think the most notable song on here is Machine Gun. They're all good songs, don't get me wrong, but just, I mean, look at that cover, man, it's cool. I mean, that's Bob Dylan, Brian Jones, and Something Peeled. I forget the guy from England that does all the Peel sessions. I can't remember his first name. But yeah, I know. My brother, first thing he thought of was the Thunderbirds. If you're not familiar with that, it's like a puppet show, but I don't know, I dug it. I thought it looked cool. Not something you see every day, and this thing was just fucking mint. Another one I found there, it's a hard one to find, is Susie and the Banshees Kaleidoscope. Now this is, I mean, it's an original pressing of that, the year it came out, which I want to say 80. So there's the back, and it's Polydor. This is a Canadian pressing, which sounded fine. And some of the, I think the Happy House was a really good one on here. Christine, another really good one. Those are the ones that really stick out. I'm sure if you're a huge Susie and the Banshees, you know, you probably like them all, but like I said, I'm building my collection with her, and was really happy to find that, because I really rarely find her stuff in the wild, at least used stuff. And last but not least, if you didn't notice my shirt, the Mars Volta were in town. I've never seen them before. My brother and my brother was lucky enough to get tickets, picked one up for me, and this is their latest album. Obviously not a whole lot to show you. This is the kinetic version. It's a gold foil cover. It doesn't really look much different than the regular version. It's gold as well, I guess maybe not as shiny. I have not opened this album yet. It's different. If you're not familiar with Mars Volta, they are, I don't even know how to classify them. This album is slightly poppy, if you will. A lot of Latin feel to it. I think a lot of their stuff kind of has that Latin vibe to it. But yeah, they're a little different, like kind of experimental, fantastic musicians. Some of it just kind of starts to go out there, but check it out. You might like them. I prefer their early work, like probably their first two albums, the best, and it kind of drifts off from there. It's not that I don't like it, but it's kind of trippy, but good shit. You might like them. Check them out. Yeah, so that's about it. Hope you like it. Maybe you might want to check some of this stuff out. And that does it for now, and hope to see you next time. Thanks.